Well, hello friends. I'm David Vos. It's a beautiful day in Texas. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Well, friends, I wanted to make a video today. I wanted to kind of make a heart-to-heart talk. A genuine, heartfelt talk with evidently half of my subscribers, or perhaps more than half of my subscribers. I don't know if it's true. I wouldn't, I would almost like to take a poll and see just how many of my subscribers, at least the active ones, seem to be a lot of flat earthers. Now, I did that video yesterday that some people are saying is a mockery, that I made fun of flat earthers. Maybe I did. But I don't know any of you personally. So I'm not making fun of anybody particularly. I guess at the time I thought that was a way to sort of make light of the situation, get maybe some people to hear. Since I'm not talking directly to any particular person, I thought, well, and I do these things on the spur of the moment. Even right now, there's certainly no script here. I just turn this thing on and I'm just talking. This is heart to heart. This is what I feel. This is me. I'm not trying to be funny in this video. But I want to talk to you guys about something. I feel, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe what I feel. I'm a little disappointed that so many people didn't like that video. And at first I thought, well, I just did a very bad job. The video wasn't good or something. And I listened to that video a couple times, and I think, I thought it was kind of funny, but I think the real reason why so many people put their thumbs down on that video is because you're all flat earthers. And here's the problem. And I know I'm still going to offend people, but please forgive me. I'm trying to be honest with you. And, I would like it if some of the people out there that believe the earth is flat, listen, we're on the same page on a lot of things. I agree with so many different things. They've lied to us about a lot of things, and NASA's a big lie, and you know all that. I just don't believe that the earth is flat. Now, so please have some sympathy for my feelings. What I think is that this flat earth situation has gotten out of hand. I think it's a religion now. I don't know where to begin here today, but I want to ask you some questions. I want to go over some things, because I don't know if you realize that. Well, let's start off by saying, look, one of the reasons why you believe the earth is flat, one of the reasons is because there are no pictures. I think this is one of the biggest reasons. There are no pictures from NASA of the earth from space that we know of for certain. We have no real proof. Any of these pictures that we see could be faked, and we know that most of them are. So that's very suspicious, and I agree with you. I don't know that the answer is that they've never gone into outer space. I don't know that that's the answer. I think if you saw pictures from space, you'd see spaceships coming in and out. See, I believe in the Anunnaki. I believe in alien beings that have come to this planet in our history. I believe there's probably civilizations on Mars, on the moon. I don't think they can actually show us pictures of that, because then the biggest conspiracy that ever was known to man would be revealed. These people that are ruling over us, they would reveal themselves on our planet. Once that cat gets out of the bag, you can't put him back. See, that's their whole power and control over us, is that we don't know for sure that they're ruling over us. So if we don't know they're here, then we can just blame all of this. It's like we can blame the drug problem on us. We're a bunch of addicts. Of course, it's not us. It is the CIA or this particular financial group of people, this mafia that's going around addicting our children and running drugs through our streets and over the border, and this is why they don't want to solve the border problem. And so it's them, it's not us. They want us to say we're bad because we eat Twinkies. but yet they've got this multi-billion-dollar business selling Twinkies. So just think about the implications of what I'm saying here. This is absolutely mind-boggling. It's probably going to be the biggest revelation you've ever had if you've not had this revelation yet. But if it's not us, if we're not the problem, if human beings, if we're not bad, we're not the bad guy, but they've been spending all of this money and time trying to get us addicted to these drugs and then blame the problem on us. I mean, think about it. We wouldn't have this problem if we were living on this earth. We are perfectly capable of living fine, healthy lives. We don't have a problem with drugs. We human beings are great. We don't have a problem with drugs unless somebody is constantly trying to force us into a situation, or literally we got doctors trying to get us addicted. We've got commercials on the television trying to tell us that we need to buy their drugs. We've got propaganda all over the place. And on the streets, if you're in the inner cities, you're going to have a lot of pressure to do drugs as a child. That stuff shouldn't be on our streets. It isn't that child's fault if somebody's constantly trying to, with peer pressure, get them to do something because it's cool, because the entire society says you've got to have a tattoo, you've got to wear your pants down around your knees. Now it's like you got to be gay, you got to be transgender, that's cool, you got to have a ring in your nose, you got to comb your hair, you got to not comb your hair, you got to have short hair. In one decade, you've got to have sideburns down below your earlobe. In another decade, you can't have sideburns. In one decade, men can have long hair, and it's cool. Our Lord and Savior's got long hair. But in another decade, if you got long hair, you're a hippie, you're a bad person, you're a criminal. We can lock you up. So would mankind normally be running around addicted to alcohol, drugs, violence? Really? We would be violent people if we weren't taught from the very time we're born, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. We weren't literally being told that the enemy is always at the door and we've got to get guns and we've got to go and have a war and murder them because they're communists and we're not. We've got an entire part of our government smuggling guns into an entire area called the Middle East, organizing and first we go in and wipe them out, murder them, make them hungry. They've seen their father die in war. They've watched it. They've literally seen people being blown up. They've watched their mother being raped. They literally hate us. And then they come in with this little group that they've invented called Al-Qaeda, who says, hey, we're going to get back at the West. We're going to start the Holy War. Come on and join. Well, they've got to join. First of all, they don't got any money. Second of all, they hate us. They're being taught propaganda. They've got a religion called Islam, which they're told from the time they're born, the West, the people of the book are bad. This is why they believe what they believe. It's not spontaneous. And we're over here, we're being taught that we're Christians and everybody else is heathens. This isn't spontaneous. We're being brainwashed from the time that we're born. And nowadays, we're still being brainwashed into believing there are no other individuals in the universe because God created the earth in 6 days. And how dare you deny the existence of our God, you heathen? Yeah, this is not a human problem. So just think about the implications of this. You've been taught all your life that you were born a sinner, that you are a worthless sinner and you don't deserve to live. And you need to get down on your knees every day of your life and thank God above that He's given you the right to even breathe. But remember, you always got to remember, you have an infinity to evil. Men are inherently evil. And just look at the streets of all these people running around on drugs and stealing. And they're stealing? Oh, well, guess what? They're hungry. Oh, you have a society that you could literally build up where we're sharing and giving and loving, helping one another, but instead you spend trillions of dollars on a society that you paired up into two sides, and each side hates each other, and you've got to go to war, and you teach our hands for warfare. This is what that God in your Bible says. He teacheth my hands for warfare. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I shall repay. I will not pardon your sins to the third and the fourth generation. This is the kind of thing that we're taught from the very moment that we're alive. And the entire thing is a big hoax. We're not bad. You know, that's like saying a dog is bad for being alive because a dog gets in heat and wants to go have sex. Okay, well, that dog's bad then. How dare you? Well, look at that dog. He's running around crazy. He ran out in the street and attacked that female. He's got her by the neck and he's got her down and he's having sex. He's a bad dog. Oh, well, that dog's bad because he pooped on the floor. But if you ask the dog, hey, do you realize that pooping on the floor is bad? He would look at you like you're some kind of an idiot. What are you talking about? You don't go poop? See, everything is half backwards and upside down, and you've been lied to, and you're being lied to again. Yeah. Think about the implications, friends. But getting back to this flat earth situation, there's a lot of reasons why they cannot show us what it looks like there above the earth. Now, there may be some pictures that are real that I haven't found any that I can say for sure that I know of that are real. So I understand. But let me ask you something. Have you ever seen a picture of the flat earth? You say, oh yeah, Dave, I've seen it. You know, every time you go up in an airplane. Well, I hear a lot of people who say when you go up in an airplane, you can see the curvature of the earth. I hear some people say you can't. I've never literally been in an airplane, so I can't tell you. And again, that is only subjective because the earth is so large, friends. I mean, you have to understand, it's 24 or 5,000 miles around. You can't see the curvature with your own eye. And even if you were up a few thousand feet, you probably couldn't see with your own eye necessarily the curvature. But, you know, if you could literally see the curvature of the earth from an airplane beyond any shadow of any doubt on any airplane you went up in, then it would be case closed. So obviously that's subjective. But if it was also that you could go up in an airplane and prove beyond any doubt that the earth was flat, that you could see for thousands of miles and you could see the earth was flat, then again, case closed. But you can't. You go up into an airplane a few thousand feet, you can only see 100 miles. And I don't know if you understand, but 100 miles is not very far. You cannot necessarily, your eye doesn't actually see far enough so that you can actually tell if the earth is round. That's like saying, I believe there's people on other planets. You don't know that because you've never been out there. That's one of those things that's subjective. You can't tell from your own eyes. You cannot actually know. So you have to use science or some sort of philosophy or objective thinking. But you don't know. We don't know. The only reason we believe the earth is round is because Pythagoras believed it was a sphere. Aristotle believed it was a sphere. And here's something that I don't think it's being told. Somehow it's getting lost in the translation. This is what happens a lot of times. Religion obscures a lot of things, and the flat earth is becoming a religion. But there has never been a time when any scientist or philosopher or anyone on this earth, I mean any major time period in history where all the philosophers believed that the earth was flat, or all the scientists. See, scientists have never believed that the earth was flat. I know a lot of you are going to say, oh, what are you talking about, Dave? You know, the church fought that. No, the church didn't even believe the earth was flat. They believed that it was geocentric, not heliocentric. In other words, they thought the earth was the center of the universe. That is also something that's subjective. You can understand why the church might have thought that. However, they did not say, oh, you got to believe the earth is flat. In the Middle Ages, friends, look it up in a dictionary, an encyclopedia. In the Middle Ages, all of the scientists believed that the earth was a sphere. They just thought, you know, even people that were geocentric, they believed that the earth was a sphere. They just thought that it was the center of everything. Ever since, I mean, you don't even really need telescopes to have the impression that the earth is round. When you see out into space, you see these little stars, and it, you know, it's been a long time we've had these telescopes. We were able to see that some of these things called planets are round, and the moon is round. you can see the shadows on the moon. You know that it's round. And and of course, lunar eclipses give us the impression that maybe there is a round Earth because it looks like the sun goes around the Earth and comes back up on the horizon. And then you see the shadow on the moon of the Earth, and you see it's a round shadow. And everything we know, they've done experiments. They've been doing this since Aristotle and Pythagoras and all of these people have done experiments with sticks in the ground and shadows and so forth, and they've done calculations. They could figure out how big the Earth was, and from this calculation and that calculation, they determined that it was probably round. Okay, that's it. They thought it was round. That was it. But it's not like we could prove it. We couldn't go out there and look back and see, oh, okay, there it is. None of us are going to be able to get in a ship and go out there and look. We don't know. The problem is, don't turn it into a religion. Why would you say the Earth is flat? Why would if you don't know, why would you say, well, if you don't know, then I could see that you would say, I don't know if it's round because I haven't seen it. Great. I agree with you. I have never personally seen a picture of the Earth. I don't know if it's absolutely round. I assume it probably is because it fits with everything that I understand with science and how, if I believe the universe is big, huge, mass, infinite space. And I see all these little stars, what I believe to be stars. And, I know you can see the moon. All of it I understand. I've read Sumerian tablets that talk about the planets and their trip to the Earth. It seems that they had interplanetary travel. This is something in our history books. There's lots of different reasons that a person would come to the conclusion the Earth might be round. But again, I don't know that. I'm not angry with you, or I don't think you're stupid if you don't know. But for you to say, oh, yes, absolutely, I know the Earth is shaped like a banana. I'm like, well, why do you believe that? Well, because obviously it's not round. And because I've never seen pictures of the round Earth. But I've never seen a picture of the banana Earth either. See, I've never seen pictures of the flat Earth. And, when you ask the flat earthers, okay, so what does the Earth actually look like? Nobody's got an actual answer. Nobody knows. They're like, well, does the water fall off the edge? And it's like, no, maybe there's an ice barrier. Really? Is there really an ice barrier 100 feet tall all the way around the entire southern pole? I've seen an ice shelf here and there, but I don't know that there's a wall all the way around. I mean, some of the things that keep getting, like people will say, Admiral Byrd said there was lands beyond the South Pole, and he saw all kinds of things, and he this and that. The stories get exaggerated and exaggerated. I've heard what Admiral Byrd said. He never said any of that. He flew over there, but he didn't say, hey, I saw people, I saw civilizations. There's no recording of that. We don't have proof of that. A lot of this is spoof. A lot of this is it's false information that gets going. All Admiral Byrd says is there's land beyond the South Pole. And if you listen to the whole context of what he was saying, he really was just trying to say that there's a big area down there that today we call Antarctica. It's a large piece of land down at the South Pole. He wasn't saying that, I found other lands beyond Antarctica. He didn't say there's lots of land and continents and so forth beyond Antarctica. He didn't say that. He said there was a lot of land down there at the South Pole. I mean, you're taking things too far. It's like a religion. You're getting fanatical about something that you don't know. Now, I like the idea that you're fanatical about not trusting or believing in the government, because I don't believe in anything the government tells me. I don't believe in NASA. I've made videos about Paperclip and all of the, Operation Paperclip and the Nazis and some of the things that's gone on in our past. I know beyond a doubt there was a bunch of Jewish financiers that was financing the German scientists, that once Hitler began to turn on them, they packed up and left and came to America. And so it was the Jewish financiers that created NASA, and they created the CIA and all these departments and the stuff, secret government and shadow government over here in America. They were running the Soviet Union. They were running America. They had different ways of running each country. But mostly they had, in the Soviet Union, they had political positions. They had bureaucratic power. In the United States, they have a lot of bureaucratic power. There's lots of advisors to the presidents that are Jewish. There's certainly a lot of financial people and movie industry and all that, that entails. They have power just about everywhere, and they control everything. But the most important thing that they have is this power to finance. And so they have done something. They've lied to us about everything. However, if it's all a lie, then why is it that all of a sudden now there's this one point of view being broadcasted all over the YouTube that we're supposed to believe now? We don't believe anything out there, but all of a sudden we're all supposed to go lock, stock, and barrel in one direction. We're all supposed to believe that the earth now is flat, even though we have never seen any pictures. There's no actual science. We don't have an actual detailed science as to what is going on. I know a lot of people say, yeah, well, we don't know, but we just know it's flat. How do you just know it's flat? We don't know. There is a lot of information that you're being told that's not true. For instance, there's a movie or a documentary that came out that some Brazilian scientists have said that they've done these experiments and they've proven the earth is flat. And that's a spoof. That's a hoax. That movie's not true. At the end of that movie, or that video documentary, they claim they sent a balloon up and they got some pictures or they got some evidence that there's another continent beyond the ice shelf. But they don't give you any pictures, any actual proof of any kind. The whole thing is dubbed and it's all a spoof. It's a big hoax. But you believe it with all of your heart. Just, you won't believe NASA, and I don't believe NASA either. But why do you want to believe somebody that makes this documentary and with no proof or any pictures, they tell you with a straight face the earth is flat and it looks like an asteroid, but we only live on one side of the asteroid and there's what? Come on, if we had any evidence whatsoever, thousands of years there's been boats going around the earth. There have been people that have sailed all the way around the earth. There has never been any evidence that the earth was flat. Nothing. I know that, you're saying they didn't go around the earth, they went around the disk. But if you put all of the evidence together, all of the voyages, and now we've got airplanes that go constantly on a daily basis around the earth. And even though it's been told to you generally that, well, they don't go across the South Pole and da-da-da-da-da, and you're not allowed, and none of that's really true. It's not. If you get to the bottom of the factual information, there have been airlines that have crossed the Antarctic, and at one time, there was an airline that went across part of the Antarctic. Okay, they stopped doing that, but it wasn't because, small planes can't go across there because it's dangerous. It's really cold down there and the winds get bad. So there's reasons why people don't fly across this. It's actually closer. If you want to go from Australia to Brazil, you wouldn't go across the Antarctic anyway. It's closer. There's a reason why they don't go across the Antarctic. Little planes, private people don't go across there because it's dangerous. It's a couple thousand, 3,000 miles of bitter weather that will bring your plane down. Nobody's going to go across that. And if you don't believe it, I've seen pictures of the snow down there. I know we get our weather currents. If you look at the globe, you'll see that we have the Arctic air that comes down in the winter. And in the southern region, they get the subarctic region winds, and we know that it's cold down there. We know it's cold at the top. Why would it be cold in the center of this flat Earth and cold at the bottom? None of that makes sense. Why are there stars that we can see in the north hemisphere and different stars that we can see in the southern hemisphere? Nobody ever explains that. We got a North Pole star, Polaris, and there's a southern pole star. And you can see the same southern pole star from Brazil as you can from Australia looking south. And the only explanation for that is the Earth is round. So, okay, is that a scientific proof? I don't know. There are definitely indications that the Earth is round. More than just indications. If you want to spend days and days and days and weeks and months of, investigation and putting all the pieces together and all the experiments that have been done since Pythagoras all the way down to our day, I think you would come to the conclusion the Earth is probably a sphere. But if you're not sure, I can't expect everybody to be certain of all of this. There's some things we just never know. Like, you can ask a friend of yours, do you believe people live on other planets? Come on, in my opinion, it's obvious that they do. But you see, that's because I believe that there are planets that go around stars. And each of these planets perhaps have life, like our planet. And therefore, I believe our planet is much like those planets, and they're spheres. So I happen to believe, I don't think it's a conspiracy, for years, I think the church, the Catholic Church, and my church, and the Lutherans, and Baptists, and most of the church, they didn't believe that there was life on other planets. Okay? And I laugh at that, because to me, that's ridiculous. All right? Of course, these people were my mother, but she was taught all of her life that there cannot be life anywhere in the universe except for on this planet. She believed it. There's no proof, right? But her whole cosmology, the way she believed the universe, that in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, and so He created the whole universe, and it was all done in 6 days, and therefore, it doesn't say anything in the Bible about other people on other planets, so therefore it doesn't exist. Well, guess what? It does exist, in my opinion. In my opinion, an infinite amount of space, lots of little stars out there, each one of them is a sun. I think there's ample evidence in science and in observation with your own eye. And you can't prove it with your own eye, but along with the experiments that have been done, all the way back 600 to 1000 BC, even in the Sumerian tablets, if you put all that information together, I think you'll come to the conclusion that the Earth is probably a sphere going around a star we call our sun, and there's vast distances between all of these stars, and I think then that there's probably planets that have life forms on them. Now, that's what I believe. Do I know for a fact it's true? Well, I know in my spirit, the Holy Spirit tells me, but I can't prove it to you. I know what my Father in heaven has told me, but I cannot prove that to you. I've got to use empirical evidence. I don't have proof, the kind of proof that you need that would prove to you that there are other beings on other planets. So, you who are these flat earthers out there, you believe the Earth is flat. Do you want to give up your belief in life on other frontiers and sci-fi movie ideas and stuff that we all nurtured in our mind growing up? Do you want to sacrifice that belief that there are suns and planets and moons and all of that stuff for your insistence upon the idea that the Earth is flat, we're the center of everything, there is no stars, they're just up there a few thousand feet or a few miles or whatever it is that the flat Earth believes. I think it's 3,000 miles or something, I don't know. But I think they're saying that, how they come up with this stuff and people just believe it without any proof? This is a religion. They say that the sun is 32 miles across, is that what it is? And the moon is 32 miles exactly, and they can't explain the eclipse, but there's like an anti-moon, and for a while it was the Earth was like a plate, it's like a dinner plate, but now it's like it's an asteroid. What's the difference between an asteroid and a planet, except that the asteroid's not exactly round? Oh, and in your view, this asteroid only has life and everything on one side of the asteroid. But it's still floating through space. What's the difference? I mean, how can you prove that? I mean, okay, maybe you're right. Maybe we're on this huge asteroid looking oblongish thing, and we're on one side of this on the flat top part of it, and there's another continent beyond the ice shelf. All right, we can't prove any of that, but you're certain that that's it. And I know a lot of you say, well, I don't know about that, Dave, but I just believe the earth is flat. What? What does that mean, you believe the earth is flat? Do you think then that can you explain why there's a severe cold temperatures at the North Pole on a flat earth? I mean, you say, well, because the sun that's 32 miles across that's going around in a corkscrew it's leaving a little cold in the middle, I don't know. I guess that makes some kind of sense. But you got to take it on faith. So let's just admit that this is all a religion now. And I have to ask you, isn't it possible that this new religion of the flat earth is being promulgated by these same individuals that financed every other religion that's ever been? The New Age, Jehovah's Witnesses. Charles Taze Russell was a Freemason, financed by the big bankers. He was very involved in Zionism, supported Zionism, wrote letters to Rothschild. Right? Jehovah's Witnesses don't know all this. They would say that's conspiracy, but it's the truth. Charles Taze Russell created the Kingdom Hall based on the model of the Masonic Hall, not on the church model. And his New World Order Bible, the New World Order, right? Their magazine, The Golden Dawn, now it's called The Awake. Their little insignia that they used to put on all their books was a Templar Masonic symbol, the same one that's on the Christian Science, Mary Baker Eddy, Science and Health, the same exact symbol on there. They used to have the phoenix bird, the phoenix bird of Ra on a lot of their literature. All right, so look, these financiers, they financed and fomented dissent, confusion. They finance anything they can that's going to make confusion. That's why they're bringing people from other countries, funneling them into the United States so that they can make dissidence and confusion. They own the internet. They own YouTube. You don't think they're trying to make you believe in something crazy? We don't know if it is. So why is this religion so certain? Why are you so fanatical about it? Why don't you just let people believe what they want, give them your opinion, and stop being so mean? Why is it that you watch one of my videos and you say, I'm unsubscribing? Why is it you watch all my videos and just love it, but I put one video out about a flat earth and boom, you're unsubscribing. I'm an idiot. I'm working with the elite or something, and I'm part of the Illuminati now because I believe the earth is as a sphere. Well, I would say the same thing about this new religion called flat earth. I know that the thousands and thousands of people that believe in the flat earth aren't Illuminati. But do you understand that the people that are pushing the idea with algorithms on YouTube, getting people to believe in it, and having, organizations spring up where people are so fanatical, running around believing in the flat earth, making t-shirts and whatever, and making fun of everybody else and calling everybody else names, that is being financed by the very same people that you don't like. You've got to come to grips with this, friends. We just have no absolute proof whether there are people from other planets. We won't know that for sure until we get in a ship and we go out there ourselves and we see it for ourselves. All right, there'll come a time when the empirical evidence will be so overwhelming, we'll all decide on a international scale, everybody will believe in aliens. When that day comes, then most people will believe it. There'll still be people who say, I don't believe it, probably, right? Unless they go themselves and, get on a ship themselves and go see. There's always going to be things like back in the day when we didn't have technology. There were probably people who went to America and saw this beautiful country and got on a ship and went home and told the Europeans, hey, I found another continent. And people say, I don't believe it. Because I didn't see it myself. I think you're lying. You're probably working for the Queen. No, there's really another continent. See, oh, well, it's India. Well, they were mistaken. It wasn't India. We call it America now. It's not India. People make mistakes. We don't know for sure if everything we believe at this time is correct. I don't believe in gravity. I agree with you. I don't believe in the theory of gravity as they understand it. But I don't believe we've got too many pictures of the Earth from space, and I don't believe that the pictures were being shown of the moon landing or, when America went to the moon. I don't think that those pictures are real. But they may have actually went to the moon. Maybe they didn't. I don't know for sure. How will I ever know? So, anyway, I just wanted to point out, friends, that this movie that's being put out there that's supposed to be a documentary where the scientists have done these studies and they've proven the Earth is flat, it's a hoax. It's not true. And if you want to know for sure that it's not true, just watch the ending of the movie and you'll see where they make these crazy claims about this other continent on the other side that somehow they've gotten evidence for, but they don't give you any evidence. Now, you wouldn't just tack that on at the end of the video and say this is all true when you have no evidence. And if you do, you're being disingenuous when you're saying, I don't believe the Earth is a sphere because I don't have any evidence and there's no pictures, and yet you're going to accept something like that. So I just wanted to point that out. This is from me to you. Let's continue to be friends. I agree with you guys on a lot of stuff. I'm sure you guys agree with me on a lot of stuff. If you believe that the Earth is flat, just remember, all the philosophers and all the scientists, all the way back to Pythagoras, all believed the Earth was a sphere. There was very few people that ever thought the Earth was flat in any way. What they believed was that the Earth was the center, geocentric. But they still had all the empirical evidence that's always been out there that says the Earth is probably a sphere. But we don't know for sure because we can't get back and look at it from a long, long ways in space. We can't. It's just humanly impossible for me to get up into space and get back and look at it. I can only use empirical data. And all of the empirical data that I have and the history of empirical data and all of the scientists of ancient days, and they weren't all, I know Pythagoras was not one of the Illuminati. I know that Aristotle had a whole completely different thing going. He was not a part of these financiers today that are using this propaganda to control us. He wasn't a part of that. So, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and go, friends. And I hope you guys have a really great day. We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good one.